Trigger on!
Welcome, dear all, to the Duckface Diaries. We are a World Trigger read-through podcast aiming to discuss the World Trigger manga, volume by volume. I'm Wensleydale Cheddar.
And I'm Hovin with an H, and this month we'll be doing something a little different. Today we are looking at the first couple of sections of the border briefing file. How do you want to introduce this?
If you're listening to this, you're probably a weeb. If you're a weeb, you probably know what a databook is. So this is basically a tome containing fun facts, behind-the-scenes materials, and all sorts of information about the World Trigger... Well, that was terrible. Please kill me.
The World Trigger minutiae.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're familiar with what we usually do in our volume retrospectives, you can treat this episode as an extended Ashihara Commons Corner, the section of these episodes where we discuss author notes and mini character profiles. So, World Trigger is a giant universe full of minor characters who are interesting in their own right, and knowing us, we're probably going to go on giant tangents about each of them, so we're going to cover this databook section by section. Starting with the first two sections, the Border Administration and the A-Rank Squads.
Dum 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 ba-da-ba-da. Music. It's probably not that music. That's the music at the start.
Want to get right to it?
Yeah, sure. So, okay, this will be... I think we definitely... On my end, a lot of this is going to be less like examining new information and more this very handily laid out information of characters compared to one another. So, a lot of this will just be discussing stuff that is very apparent in the manga, but it's just like, oh, seeing it laid out like this made me think about this more, basically.
Perhaps we should say something about the translation of this, because like there isn't an official release for this, is there?
No. What we have is a very, very handy little fan translation by someone that we probably shouldn't credit, and if there is ever a Viz version, check that one out instead.
Or even you can buy the official Japanese version, really, if you want to support World Trigger, if you want to support Ashihara Sensei. I might someday, if I ever come across it. And if you're listening to this from 10 years in the future, and it turns out that Ashihara has become a child predator or whatever, don't buy this then. Obviously, right now I just assume that every Shonen Jump author is going to become a pedo. I don't...
It's something you tense yourself for so that it doesn't let you down. But yeah. Speaking of like the translations, I'm just going to cruelly roast it here. There are a couple. Obviously, it's a fan translation, so there are splits in quality, but there are some little ones that amused me. For one, it's interesting that this translation names Meteor as the one expo dump mage girl from Recreators. And also there's one line, what was it? It's a really funny one. It's like, does not miss the opening from the backlash of the bold move. This series of lines sounds like something out of Backstroke of the West.
I honestly like wouldn't blame it if English wasn't the first language though. So
yeah, a lot of it is very, it's for the most part very, very easy to understand. It's just some funny little ones. Also, rabbit instead of rabbit. It sounds like they must have had a gap year. Last one, Chika Amatori, spelt with a Y. I guess she joins Conserva Squad in this data book. Which I've checked further on, they don't repeat this, so it's just like a one-off little typo. I guess one thing to go into, this was contemporary up to volume 14, so it's probably not worth worrying too much about in terms of like, if you're listening to this in order. I don't think we go into any plot points that are in volume 14 that weren't established in this one here, but there's definitely some stuff in general that has been introduced since here in terms of like current manga stuff.
We might discuss a few spoilery things, though. I remember having a few spoilery notes.
Yeah.
I think most of them, in fact, so if you're not an up-to-date manga reader, you might want to save this one until later.
Okay.
We open on the page discussing Border as an organization. It draws attention to the fact how quick Border's response was during the first invasion, how it might have existed before, but it was then that it chose to reveal itself. So it says that they honed the fangs in preparation for the coming battle, but as we learn later, like it wasn't always this way. That Border members were hostile to like aliens from the get-go. But it's interesting if some Border members were actually. I know we find out that Kido didn't used to be, but yeah, I wonder if someone else was. I was surprised by the by the sheer volume of the C-rank agents and the fact that ever since Osama's big moment during the conference, it's probably the number is probably larger than that at this point.
The organization is literally the size of a primary school up until this point. A primary school in a city, mind you. I grew up as a Londoner, but yeah.
Okay, small tangent, but in my dark days of the internet, I unfortunately used to be a South Park fanfiction writer, and this reminds me of my times documenting the students at South Park Elementary, and it reminds me how like 90% of the students were the third and fourth graders because that was the easiest character model.
Yeah.
With the desire for peace in our hearts, we aim for further progress, and that's also funny wording.
It's very propagandistic. Obviously, there's some stuff in this because it is just a databook masking as a piece of border information. But yeah, obviously a lot of the stuff mentioned in here wouldn't be maybe immediately the sort of thing they'd put in a book like this. In actual setting. But yeah, definitely, I think this this introductory section definitely plays into that theme the strongest. Well, this is awkward. I only have one note for this section. You do a few of yours, and then I'll mention my one note.
That's all of mine for this page.
Oh, right. I meant I have like 2 notes for the entire admin section.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
okay,
it's that bad.
Right.
Just keep going, and I will mention when you get to a character that I've got something for.
Okay. Just feel free to comment at any time. Then we have the section for the organization deconstructed, basically showing us the chain of command. That it first is the border HQ commander, and he oversees each of the branch chiefs. In the official release, it should be directors, but. So, for example, the branch chiefs have the branch agents, the HQ director has the HQ agents, and there are also some agents directly under commanders. So I'm assuming that's the Tachikawa, Furuyoshima, Kazama, and Miwa squads have been established as that, but the division is not that clear.
Also, maybe Amo.
Yeah, Armo as well. So, at border, to avoid redundant orders, only the direct superior may give orders to subordinates. This seems extremely difficult. And it seems like it would only hinder communication, but I guess I'm glad that Jin managed to find a way to exploit it.
Yeah, I feel like a more logical one would be that if there are conflicting orders, the order from directly above takes priority? Because maybe that person in the department would know some minutiae that the others wouldn't. But then again, I feel like that's basically the case anyway, because when Kido gives an agent an order, they're expected to carry it out.
Yeah, unless Jin wants to disagree. Also, Border is a private organization specializing in border defense. This is very topical because private paramilitary SMH, even space is corrupted by capitalism now.
Sad Tim Curry face.
Then we move on to Masamune Kido. His scar still looks like a noodle to me, or it looks like a kind of stick-on tattoo. I don't know.
Yeah, he looks like he got it out of a magazine or like a party bag or something.
That's one of the weaknesses of Ashihara's art style. From the pages, it seems like some of the directors were combatants, like Rindo and Shinoda, but Kido wasn't. So where did he get the scar from?
I mean, it could also be something they're shrouding in mystery, but maybe it is just he wasn't. Yeah, because there are plenty of characters here who haven't been shown off in action at all that are still given parameters. Like
Rindo of fucking Raizo, the chief engineer.
He might have just gotten that scar during an invasion in the fallout from it.
It seems like Kido has been thematically shaped by invasions, since his birthday is the Nazi invasion of Poland as well. Or maybe it's supposed to signify that he's no fun since it's the start of the school year. I'm surprised to hear that also Kido is... Yeah, Kido's as tall as me. So you must be taller than most of the agents, actually.
I mean, by Japanese standards, maybe. They do tend to be on average shorter than, I don't know about Poles, but Brits for sure.
Have we been beefcakes all this time, Hovin? Are we beefcakes?
I'm a beefcake, but I sure ain't composed.
I've also got the same blood type, and I also like my coffee black. I thought I was Kikujihara or Chika, but maybe I was Kida all this time.
Cappuccino gang, cappuccino gang, cappuccino gang.
Shinoda likes self-discipline. Kinky.
I wonder what him and Sawamura get up to.
Yeah, a lot of characters like self-discipline in this, and I've made the same note of each of them. They just say nice.
No, make the same note of each of them. Custom darkness Konosuba emoji.
I had canon since he likes soy sauce. I had canon the idea of that Kinuta and Netsuki as part of the Conserver Squad make fun of him for being a soy boy, but Kinuta still has Brain Force Plus in his cupboard, so he doesn't realize he's a hypocrite. Rindo enjoys fishing. He can't catch any. Big same. My stepdad and even my mum are great at fishing, but I don't have the patience or the hand-eye coordination for it.
I've only ever gone crayfishing, which is very different to fishing with a pole. It's like you kind of lower down a bucket with like a rock in it. I can barely remember. It was like you fish with a bucket, and it's very easy to catch them if you're in like a hot spot. Because they will just be drawn to it.
So Rindo has the blood type AB, is that right? So he's like the ultimate recipient, while Kido is the ultimate giver. Ooh, symbolism, but reversed? I don't know.
Reverse symbolism.
Rindo's position is unknown. So due to his range, we would presume that he'd be a shooter type, but this is a Tamakoma, so who knows? He might have
some weird custom trigger,
like neighbor weaponry that would make him difficult to classify. I do actually like one of the lines that was translated like this is just extremely poetic. Fluttering like a puff of cigarette smoke, that is Rindo style. Avoiding discord, he shrouds roughness behind smoke screens.
Yeah, it is cool. Like the whole smoke imagery.
Also, having the soul of an engineer in him, he contributed to the erection of the rank war system with the chief of development, Kinota. So he may have the body of a frail combatant and an administrator, but he has the soul of an engineer. So not many notes on Sawamura. It's honestly a bit embarrassing of how much her character is defined by supports Shinoda.
Yeah. Now we come to my first note of the whole thing. I find it so funny how much Kurosawa's entry hits home the idea of his rugby playing being some kind of huge advantage. Like, it was funny that it got brought up to begin with, but the fact that it keeps leaning into it. Like, at times, the world surprises for his allies too. Was the tale he spun of the birth of the unexpected hero an effect of the spirit of fine plays he cultivated from his rugby years?
I'm just like, Ashihari, you can't do that. That's what we do. You can't do that. Come on.
It's the Marvel movie approach of, you can't make fun of me if I make fun of myself first.
Then we have Kinuta. Honestly, since his life, so family, work, walks, Kinuta honestly seems like such a wholesome family guy. Also, the more I look at his old design, the more he looks like he's the dad of Gorilla from Me and Roboco. He even likes to look menacing while he's a big softy on the inside. So.
Yeah, no, I'd say this is actually less detailed than his volume bio. I think for obvious reasons. I don't think Border want to shed the dirt of the family on, on their official documents.
Everyone is fucking divorced. Natsuki likes horses. Silly Natsuki, horses don't exist.
Oh yeah, I have a note for Terashima. Him having decent attack and mobility, despite just being like an engineer on like the admin level, makes me wonder if he had a role as a combatant beforehand, and that maybe Fukushima is on a similar path to him, because Fukushima already is fairly minimal with his role in the field compared to other trappers. So perhaps if other trappers are able to move up the ranks, perhaps Fukushima could move into this sort of role.
Other trappers singular. At least from A rank, that's what I assume. So since there's just one member of Kako's squad.
I'll get into that when we get into A section. But yeah,
it kind of makes me think of one of the newest chapters where from the away mission test, Border considers who is going to be who from the A rank squads is going to be a potential member of the extended administration. And it seems like Rhizo is a bit of a test for that. I never paid much attention to World Trigger Cartman, so yeah, I'm surprised that he's listed with statistics at all if he were a combatant.
Yeah, no, I just thought of him as unnamed background guy in R&D.
He's got more Trine than Kitoran. Actually, most of the agents, and more attack than Sawamura.
Yeah.
He must have been an attacker before, given his ranges too. And then we have, I've never given much thought to the HR department since they don't have an assigned director, but yeah, they sure exist. I'm loving the discovery of this corporate structure. Most of you are like, oh my god, can we just wait to the way mission? I'm like, ooh, world building, yes, please, give me more corpo lore, daddy. And there's also a section about former founding members of Border, so Yugo Kuga and Soichi Mogami. I didn't know that Yugo was the supreme commander before Kido.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
I don't think it's like information that we learned in the volume extras.
Might have been, yeah, because obviously Border would have been much smaller at that point, and this might have been kind of. No, it wouldn't have been before Kido gained those biases, but it would have been before he had that sole leadership role.
Maybe it was more of an egalitarian structure back then, since the text also seems to imply that Mogami and Kido were his peers. So
I forget. Was Yugo around before the first neighbor invasion or after?
I forget actually.
Yeah, because that would be very important. Because obviously, if he was around after it, there would have been a lot of tension between him and Kido. But if it's beforehand, it's probably a little more straightforward.
So then we go to Mogami, which is Jin's mentor, and Mogami's wish for Border to cooperate instead of fight is like one detail that I've missed during our read through, and it gives some more context to Jin's decision to just give Fujin away. So I kind of like it retroactively, thematically now. And that's it for the administration. So thank you very much, everyone. Okay, let's get to the A rank squad.
Yeah, let's go to that section.
We start with the Border directory data guide. We get some information about how the agents pages are divided, and I was especially interested at the start in the team parameters, like how the team as a whole deals with that, with what style of battling the best. I completely forgot that the spotter, the spotter position existed, and to my mind, is it just for the one agent in category squad, or?
Yeah, maybe. I think the one thing on this page that really stood out to me is the bagworm tag is interesting. Like, which other slots does it refer to that become unusable with it? I'm guessing it's just in the moment of using it, as opposed to just having it in your roster. On the character page bios, below trigger set, there's a little asterisk that says, bagworm tag uses up Little Treon, but in return, the other slots become unusable if you set it.
I think that's like the bagworm tag that like the trappers have, like Fuyushima, and that's one member of Kako Squad. That's not like bagworm. I don't know what exactly it is, but from what I understand, it's like, as far as I can guess, it's like you set an area around you, which is like unnoticeable by the radar. I don't know what the advantage to it is. Maybe you can like hide some traps or something, but this is just what the trappers and the one spotter uses.
Right, I see. Okay.
This is embarrassing. I didn't really know about the difference between the main and sub triggers, and this is just basically uses one weapon in one hand and the other weapon in the other, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it feels like kind of the figurative offhand, but obviously that doesn't really apply for everything, because sometimes a sub trigger will be like a gun rather than another sword, so offhand doesn't really apply. But yeah.
Yeah, or like bagworm that's like you have you have on your back. That's the free slot. I thought that in most of these it was used for like characters with little Tryon, but having it depending on strategy also makes sense. I really like the fact that there are separate parameters for operators. They really have to have a different set of skills for the roles, and the way how it's described here makes me appreciate the role of the operator more, and kind of makes me see we saw more of them, but I can't have everything.
Yeah, even as much as he tries to world build everything, Ashihara does need to have some focus to the manga.
For a moment, I struggled to figure out how exactly you'd measure defense/support, but I guess in a system mostly based on mid-range fighters, defense with a shield or ray gust, and a gunner's cover fire have a similar function. Yeah, in general, these parameters have to be vague enough to apply to all combatant positions. So some you can predict are going to be weaker than others, like range depending on position, but some like attack will apply to all. Okay, Tachikawa, the number one agent. What do you think Tachikawa studies at uni?
It's really tough, actually. I don't know. I can't really see him studying something terribly academic. But then, obviously there could be dipshits who are like good at academic work. So I don't know. My gut says something like engineering, which is very academic.
Maybe game development?
Yeah, because it's like his whole squad, they're a bunch of, like, goobers who love playing video games. It's like, I think Izumi is the one who has an academic subject and just has it as, like, a big passion along the side, and Tachikawa is the one who's just like, I want to make video my life. I want to make games and fighting my life.
He likes croquettes. Osama's mum makes croquettes. That's going to be an awkward dinner when he's trying to kill Osama's friend. He has expectations from Murakami. I never read much into it, but I suppose it makes sense.
Yeah, they're both very much like outstanding aces.
So in his trigger set, we of course see the famous Kagetsu Senku, which also implies the existence of Kagetsu Taiju and Kagetsu Yuzuriha. I forget if he had ever used Bagworm. Does he have any use for it at all, given he's such a powerhouse?
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember him stealth. I guess you could always say Bagworm is implied before they get onto the battlefield if they're trying to be covert.
Yeah, I suppose so. I was wondering if, like, cutting down allies along with the enemies... Is cutting down allies along with the enemy Tachikawa's kink? Like, he first did it to Kazama against Jin, then he asked Konami to do that against Gatlin.
Yeah, It's definitely, like, a go-to strat for him.
I do like Izumi's relationship table where it just says Eureka, burden.
Burden. Yes, that was very funny. The focus on Izumi's countermeasures makes me almost wonder if he's meant to be a more advanced Osamu parallel, although, like, one with far greater Trion reserves. Which also kind of backs up to me the idea that maybe, like, because we already have a character who's just like, what if Osamu had decent Trion, the idea of Osamu getting super huge reserves of it and super powerful attacks is, it seems even more pointless to me.
Yeah, I see. It does feel like he's definitely less focused on having special tactics, which like his parameter reflects. Tachikawa squad has no special tactics really. It's just a squad full of, except Eureka, powerful, naturally talented, and intelligent people who can think on the toes. Just weapon plus shield. That's all you need in the number one squad.
Right. So I guess his strategic instrument is a little less like the focus of his fighting style then.
It's just bullets and shields all the way and that's it. He has like all the gunner triggers. Interesting that for how young he is still considered to be one of the mentor characters. He favors light guidance to facilitate natural acquisition of skills. It's funny how, to be honest, he overcame Osama's aversion to rank wars, given how much embarrassment it gave him in back in Kazama's duel. Whereas losing so many times to an A rank wouldn't bring him shame. So Eureka.
He has my favorite relationship chart of these sections. Absolutely.
Precious Kohai. This is honestly adorable.
Aww, he actually has some affection for Osama.
One of the few. Eureka is also he has two asteroids, so he's kind of like trying to imitate Izumi and Tachikawa in full attack plus defense plus one trick. And it's quite adorable. They're all dual wielders in a sense, but most agents are dual wielders in World Trigger, so...
Yeah.
Then there's a section on Konichika, on the operator of Tachikawa squad. She, of course, uses her gamer skills for mechanical operation because it's her highest stat. I love that we note on her questionable academic record.
Her and Tachikawa constantly bunking off their gamer classes. I was also just thinking, I can't wait for Kunichika Grumps animated with her distraught reactions at losing.
During the last volume recap, you missed the crab clocks, so now you can see it in the off-time squad.
There it is!
Whose aesthetic is this?
Yay! I feel very sorry for the underpaid border staff that have to tidy Kachikawa Squad's quarters. Maybe they make trainees do it. I wouldn't put it past them.
That's something that the border administration would do. Shall we move on to Fuyushima Squad?
Yep.
I really enjoy the symbolism of Fuyushima's emblem. The knight chess piece represents like tactical fighting as well as unpredictability. I'm surprised that Toma isn't more mobile though, to like lean into that symbolism.
Yeah. I was gonna say on Fuyushima, his switchbox is definitely one of the most unutilized triggers so far. And even this doesn't give us too many of its pros and cons and what sort of strategies it can be used in, besides providing a warp for Toma and some flavor in how the R&D defends the city. With that said, that could well be enough, given that we have Mai from Kako Squad possibly providing more of this on the combat side.
I hope that in the trigger section in the later parts of BBF we get more of a description of this. Also, Switchbox, that's what Smash Cars used to be, right?
And to add on to like the details of him being kind of very much a non-combatant, given that like Fuyushima's age relative to most combatants, I wonder if he became an A rank before the rank wars were introduced or not. If he was in the rank wars, like it would be interesting to know how he fought, if he managed to use his switchbox in an ingenious way, or if it's just like an interesting facet of Border's history that like some of its older members didn't have to were able to prove themselves in other ways.
Oh, I think we see a bit of switchbox, but again, this is just basically warping in the Galapola invasion arc. I think like Miwa makes use of it to surprise his opponent.
You see, we go from like the admin sections, and like some of the agents I just have nothing on, and then Fuyushima, I just have like 4 things on him.
How are we fucking at the 42nd minute already?
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is like Fuyushima is just that one uncle with a basement full of constructed, glued together Lego sets.
This is curious that he has like one of the highest Tryon levels. What does he use it for? I guess like for stealth, since he has to become invisible with Chameleon, and that may drain a lot of it.
Is maybe perhaps like Switchbox itself is very draining? Because it needs to manage loads of traps at once. I don't know.
I suppose, but I guess it's something like Spiders, so he like sets it and there it is. I suppose it would like work in a similar way.
I don't remember how much Mai has. I just could like scroll down to her, but I don't recall her having like particularly amazing Trion, and she has the same kind of setup. So I don't know.
I don't think we get a parameter page for her, given that we haven't met her yet.
Where is Ara Squad? I need to find it.
Well, Arashiyama Squad is number 5, so they would be before that.
I was actually, speaking of rankings, that was my other point. I find it very interesting that Tachikawa Squad's very crowded trigger loadout versus Fuyushima Squad's incredibly bare bones one. It shows that there's no ideal amount of weapons needed to be a high achiever in Border. Because those are the 2 highest squads, and they both achieve in very different areas, and that multitasking is something that works a lot better for some than others.
Yeah, and they both also are 2-member squads. It doesn't always make you number 1 to have the advantage in numbers. The operator Maki is built up to be a really vital member of the team, even though we haven't really seen her yet at all, apart from one of the newest chapters. So even at his height, 184 centimeters, Grail and Castor must be taller than him. What height are you?
I don't remember. I think of myself in feet, so it's like, I think I'm like 5'9". I don't remember. Something close to 5'9".
So many feet. Too many feet. Too many feet.
What is this a Hiro Mashima podcast?
What, another one? Cooking with Fuyushima.
No, it'd be cooking with Kako. Come on.
Yeah, cooking with Kako. So then there's Toma. There is not a lot of tricks in his trigger set. It's just a lot of basic sniper weaponry, which is also kind of similar to Tachikawa Squad, even though they use more. But just an eaglet and that's it.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of texture.
I don't even remember where the panels showing the traps are from. So then there's Kazama Squad.
Kasama Squad, which, I went from having, 4 or 5 notes on Fukushima to having 1 note for the entirety of Kazama Squad collectively.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It really does vary, mainly it's just, how interesting they are versus how much we've seen of them in the series, so... we've not seen much of Fukushima at all, so there's more to speculate on, whereas Kazama, a lot of this is stuff that's been out... this squad has been outlined a lot in the volumes, so I don't have much to say on them.
One new thing that is quite interesting is that the various places on the uniform are devices that reduce chameleon's trine consumption. That's interesting, actually. You'd think that they wouldn't be able to use chameleon continuously, but I guess that's one of the perks of being in high-ranking A rank.
And I wonder if this sort of tech isn't very common, and they're gifted it because of especially of their prowess within the squad. Also, well done. That was my 1 note.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll be quiet for the rest of the section now.
Oh. Okay, we should have thought this through. I like that Kazama's relationship chart. This Yuma acknowledges he exists.
Everyone else is just NPCs.
155 centimeters. Kazama is a tiny bebe. He exceeds in command even over the A rank number 1. That's quite interesting to note. But yeah, he takes charge more than Tachikawa's does. So Kazama's reasons for defeating neighbors is not to avenge his brother, it's to follow Border's commands and execute his duty. I love that Ashihara wrote this because he realized that his and Miwa's designs are pretty similar in concept, and he's like, oh shit, I need to make the motivations the opposite. Holds an eye that sees through others' aptitude, resourcefulness, and an art of cultivating outstanding talent. He splendidly made Kikuchihara's talent bloom. It's one of the reasons why he right now might be tried as a candidate for future board administrators. Interesting that Kikuchihara has likes listed instead of hates, like he did in the volume extras. He likes companions and his friends.
We skipped past Ryo, but yeah.
Oh, we did skip past him. Oh well, I guess I'll just finish Kikuchihara and then come back to him.
Yeah, fair enough.
We also see that informed attribute here actually cares a lot about his friends, and this is revealed when Enidora was insulting Kazama. I guess I really didn't pay attention to this moment of progression when it happened, but now that I think about it, it was there, since he wanted to keep at it against Enidora no matter what. Come back to Otagawa. He's so well liked that I can never remember him.
He sure is that one member of the squad that I sometimes mix up with Murakami.
I didn't remember him for 2 read-throughs, I think. Has he ever used Meteora and Asteroid? I was sure that he was just an attacker. Also never noticed those feint techniques that he supposedly has. Then there's Mikami, the operator. So in a way, in a stealthy squad, she's kind of a stealthy operator in herself in how she works behind the scenes to make the clash of the personalities within the squad work. The stealth squad's mediator. I'll say it again that Kazama is the audience avatar of the series. There was a section about his relationship to Osamu, that ever since the fight in the training room, Kazama has been paying attention to how far can one of the weaker people, one of the have-nots, go with the wit and ingenuity.
I have to wonder, which do you buy more? Kazama as a potential admin, or the Katori squad operator as one?
Tory squad. Oh yeah. Both of those would be very nice. I guess I would think that Kazama would become one beforehand, but because he has been part of Border for a longer time. But it would be interesting to break up Katori squad and see how each of the members would bloom in different company. Then there's Kusakabe squad. So yeah, let's start with your notes.
Ryuji Saiki of Kusakabe Unit is one of the highest ranking A-rankers that uses Escudo. They dual-wield it like Jin, as opposed to Scruffy Hottie, who only uses it as his sub-trigger.
He's one of the more defensive all-rounders, since he double-wields Escudo and double-wields Shield, but also surprisingly uses Kagetsu. Then we have Kazuma, which we learn about quite sooner than all the other agents except Midorikawa. No, when he was introduced in the manga, I was like, really? He's the number one gunner? There's no one higher ranked than him? But yeah, I guess apart from Eureka, there's no other gunners in the higher ranked squad, so next also would be Arashiyama and Tokieda, so it's really not a well-represented position in the upper ranks.
Yeah.
He has asteroid in both his handgun and assault rifle, rather than another gunner bullet, but I guess he just adjusts depending on the situation, what his other gunner bullet in the handgun is. Uno seems to be a stealthy one with a silencer triggers installed on the rifles. That's an interesting one. Maybe it's one of the prototype's triggers, but I don't know. I'm so excited to actually see Kisakabe, the operator captain, in action. Like, Midorikawa has been around since ages ago, but it's funny now that we can see the rest of them.
Yeah, it's weird. It's rare that you get like that much time between a squad member being introduced and actually seeing like the captain of the squad.
I think we like saw Katagiri for a bit in his old design before Midorikawa, so I guess he beats Midorikawa, but Katagiri wasn't like very prominent at all. He was just a background character. They have all the positions, just like Tamakoma right now, in a sense, since Hughes takes the role of an all-rounder and Osama takes up being the trapper a bit. It's weird. Nobody else, no other trapper uses Spider, and it seems like such a trapper trigger.
Yeah.
There's Midorikawa, of course. He's shown in his C-rank uniform that he got for the duel against Yuma, rather than his actual uniform. Or is it just the getup he has when Kusakabe is not around, so he can cosplay as Jin? Midorikawa is more mobile than Yuma or even Konami.
He is faster than Yuma. Yuma is just more experienced.
Yeah. It is his main advantage. So it is quite fair. So far, a lot of the triggers work well in double combinations. Like he uses double grasshopper and double scorpion, double shield. Is it that they can't use anything else out of the main subgroup, or no? Then we get a squad that we know very well. Arashiyama squad, the PR squad, A rank number 5. I suppose that you don't have many notes on them.
One thing, I mentioned how much that the idea of this as a border document was very strong in the introduction, but I think the graphic of Arashiyama going, "The training will make you strong," is one of my favorite bits of this section. These sections that play into that.
Oh, fuck. I was wrong. Like they're all rounders. I guess I was wrong about them being gunners, Arashiyama and Tokieda, that is. I didn't expect there was so many all-rounders in Border in the first place. I guess no more gunners, that's a new law. Arafune's dream has already come true.
They're like me in a fighting game. They never pick a main.
Well, this is where I found out from that Arashiyama was Konami's cousin. I like how all the prominent A ranks have the special prototype weapons. Although I don't know if the teleporter is just a prototype for Arashiyama or if they have their own special one. But I guess it's not as prominent as to.
Yeah, no, I always kind of wonder when I see like brackets prototype. Maybe it's like it might be an excuse for why we won't see it on a lot of A rank squads. The idea that it's just kind of new technology.
Kitora likes self-discipline. Nice.
The real thing that screwed with me here is, how is Scruffy Hottie not one of Kitora's likes? Of what the fuck?
As I did find amusing that next to Osama it says, can't leave alone. She's the ace, but her total parameter is lower than her captain's. Didn't expect that. I guess numbers don't consider the ingenuity, but special tactic is more for unusual trigger combinations, maybe. We did know that like she had a custom spider made for her handgun, but I didn't know that you could do that instead of getting another bullet for the handgun. Since, as we found out earlier, gunners can equip 2 types of bullets in a weapon. How is her Scorpion custom? Any idea?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going for, like, the fact that she uses it on her feet is custom, but then we can see regular Scorpions do that, so I don't know. I don't really get it. Maybe it's like an unusually sturdy Scorpion? I don't know.
Tokieda and Arashiyama have the same trigger set overall, huh? That's Boring.
Yeah, I guess they're just very straightforward of like, yeah, we want to be able to interchangeably use each other's roles depending on what the situation demands.
Satori liking hamburgers made me curious, but because like he has a very similar voice to like America from Hitalia. Maybe it's the same voice actor.
The thing that struck me most about Satori's sheet is how high his attack is for a sniper. It's not something that you'd usually think of as a priority.
I'm surprised how fucking high his skill is, because like, of course, he fucking shoots with 2 guns. I don't suppose he hits anything. Most snipers default to eaglets. Maybe it's because of the try-on limitation, but I was wondering why rifles have to be the same. Maybe it's because of the double snipe. Maybe that makes things easier. Did you see on the relationship chart? Does Satori have a thing for blondes, since he wants both Izumi and Konami to notice his sniping? Then there's Ayatsuji. She's attractive in both form and figure. I guess I'll have to believe you. She looks pretty samey to other girls in Border, but okay.
Yeah, they keep mentioning the girls, the operator's looks.
Is this Ashihara Boomer moment number 5? No talent when it comes to arts. How come? Has it been demonstrated at any point? Is it because of the Arashiyama squad logo, which is kind of mare's just 5 stars? Did she just design that? I can't remember.
Alas, she is not very artsy or sportsy.
4 out of 5 likes like orderliness. The room is always kept clean. Who is the messy one? I forget.
I don't know. I get the vibe that Satori would probably be the messy one.
I guess so. And then there's Kako Squad. This, I suppose, there is some more theorizing about. Would you like to take the reins?
Yeah, literally the only thing I had in this was just thinking about how the switchbox, this character's switchbox, could be used in combat as opposed to Fuyushima's. That's the only note I have. I will say the term "sexy uniform of black and purple" we used specifically in reference to Kuroe is a bit. Not sure I like that.
Well, in 10 years, I guess we'll see. The uniform is honestly not that sexualized. I don't really get it.
Yeah, it's another one like Kitora design moment where it's like it feels like, I don't know if Hashihara actually did this design book, but like it's like the series making a bigger deal out of like a more sexual thing out of something that really you could have just not commented on and no one would have thought about it.
Honestly, I don't know. The Kotori Squad uniforms are way hotter than this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kako Squad is specifically known for the trigger customization. So this will be curious to see, especially with the second Trapper.
They got a lot of prototypes.
Apart from being a shooter, Kako uses a Scorpion. This is I suppose for frying rice. The timer option trigger is interesting. How would that work? I guess she can like plant a bullet to shoot from somewhere and just leave it hanging for a while.
Yeah.
This would be interesting to see. I guess it could work well with teleport and with Kitagawa's orbs. Solicitation in the relationship chart with Yuma. Oh yeah, a commenter in the previous podcast. I forget who that was, but I will add it in post.
Hello, Android Hindsight here. You know, the good old Tryon soldier from the HOVIN'S Hideaway podcast. That's right. I was a Tryon soldier this whole time. Android is actually my given name. Who knew? Anyway, I'm just here to say that commenter's name was Chestoberry.
So Chestoberry has drawn attention to the fact that Kako, Miwa, and Ninomiya were all part of the previously rank number 1 Azuma squad before they split to establish their own teams. I guess in a way, the present situation might be part of a previous away mission test, which invented new roles and new squads. Then we have Kuroe. She has mobility 10. That's also one of the highest ones, second only to Midorikawa and tying with Yuma and Konami. Marco and Ida 10. Are these like option triggers that transform her Kogetsu or something? And what's with her like Skanda attack? So I made notes on a few volumes ahead. I saw something called Skanda, and I don't really get it. So I hope that those two are later explained. Kitagawa also has basically the same combination as Fuyushima. Then we have a bit of a section on the agent cultivation program. So it's training time. It's an enlightening section, I guess. Given that we usually like focus on the rank wars, I wouldn't mind having advanced versions of those being sprinkled throughout the away mission tests a bit. Maybe they're going to be in the simulations. And then we go to the Miwa squad.
Okay, this squad I actually have a decent amount of notes on. I guess relative to how I usually do. Yeah, Mimo being a former student of Azuma is cool, along with obviously Ninomiya, Kako, Reiji. Oh, a lot actually. We get like an example of talent that Azuma has already cultivated, as well as his current students. And it's also interesting to think that he's on the team with Tsukimi as an operator, who is considered a successor to Azuma. Like he's always been paired with one of the outstanding tacticians of Border.
Who actually was like Azuma's operator in this first squad? Maybe it was Tsukimi as well. Huh.
I'd never pieced together the idea that the lead bullets of Miwa Squad represent snake venom, which is really cool. Although the briefing files briefly use poisonous, which is a common mistake referring to snake bites when they're obviously venomous, but it also uses venomous fangs, so it kind of alternates. But yeah,
it's the same Pokemon type. I don't care. I didn't expect the snake motif for both Miwa and Ionea, but now I can kind of see it with like his extendable spear and such. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. It's still cute that they have a bowling pin in the middle of the emblem. Skill is the highest stat of Miwa's. It's interesting since he needs it for operating the lead bullet, I suppose. Not much trying for it though, so I suppose he can't use it as much. I like how Azuma's like the only person Miwa has a decent relationship with at this point. I guess I didn't really notice that little moment when Azuma was like, "Hey, Miwa, are you okay?" But yeah, it meant a lot since they used to be on the number one squad together. I didn't remember that the lead bullet carries 100 kilos of weight. Now that I think about it, wow! How is the lead bullet customized for Miwa? That's my question. Is it just because it's in his handgun? But then again, it can't be, but because like he has two gun triggers in his handgun already, so. Then we have Ionea. So, wait, did we have Genyo in... No, we didn't have Genyo in Kurei's thing. Scorpion's transformative property is inherent to it, but with Kagetsu, I guess you need Genyo as an option trigger to transform it.
Yeah, and I mean, if you got on a squad with a lot of other people with the same trigger, they'd be the Genyu force.
It's interesting that like Ionea even bothers with Genyu rather than just making a scorpion into a spear, but oh well. Narasaka, I still don't get the bamboo. He was introduced as the bamboo boy in the volume extras, and now this isn't referenced at all. This was such a weird random thing back when we recapped it, but has higher range than Toma, even if they both use Eaglet and have similar Triumph levels. That's interesting. This is another unexpected cousin relationship that he has. He is Nasu's cousin. No, I can see it,
Yeah.
Although Narasaka is not fucking dying.
Yeah, I do find it interesting, like, in contrast to Toma, who's just like, I am going to really hone one gun. He is, like, a bit of a, like, workhorse of just, I'm just going to have one of loads of every kind of... is that every kind of sniper rifle? Like, most of them.
Yeah, all of them.
Just for whatever situation, I'm just really, really focused on just honing, just having that variety.
Yeah, whereas Toma just doesn't care and just uses what he's used to. It's also interesting that like, oh, so that's maybe how that Akane is Narasaka's disciple, probably because like he's Nasu's cousin. So that's where they found out about each other. Then we have Kadera. It's interesting that he's being built up as a tactician and as an analyst, but like he has little to no special tactics. I guess he's like good at data processing, but not very creative. He doesn't have a lot of tricks in his trigger set. It's the same basic set as Narasaka. Kadera won't fuck in his relationship chart because he looks up to Asami.
Aww, you can do it.
And his charisma skill is greater than expected, even if he was first shown to be nervous around Narasaka, so makes sense with what he's doing in the test. Tsukimi has the highest command skill out of the squad. Why isn't she the captain? We see the extent of her command tactical skills in the Galapola invasion arc, where she organizes Jin's help to take down Coscaro. I guess I do have a lot of spoiler notes. I'm gonna get a warning in the introduction later. And I think that's it for Miwa Squad. Do you have any notes on Katagiri?
Nope. I do not.
What? That's one of the unknown squads, huh?
Yeah, but this one just apparently didn't interest you. I guess because we've seen Katagiri Squad since, right?
Yeah, we sent them in the.
But I am massively checked. That was one of the chapters I was massively checked out on. So yeah, I don't really have much to say. It sure will be interesting to see all these in action.
I was actually excited for the introduction a bit. I'm sure that they are the laughingstock of HQ, given that the emblem is a snowflake. Katagiri, I hope that he's at least the number 2 or number 3 gunner, because otherwise I'm struggling to find reasons to make him memorable apart from the Virgin Katagiri versus the Chad Katagiri meme. Dummy Beacon. That's one of the prototypes triggers in a trigger set. So what's that? Does draw Trine soldiers to it?
It makes your Trion body thick.
Like the HQ is a beacon, right? So the Trine soldiers converge around it. So like, does it draw Trine soldiers to it, or does it put fake Trine?
Yeah, the dummy thing is weird. Like, if it did function as a beacon, it would just be a beacon. But that would be fine. That definitely has its uses in combat.
Does it put maybe fake Trine signals on the radar to confuse the enemy that there are more agents about, so that the enemy doesn't know where the real ones are? This would be interesting in tandem with the spotter of the squad. Asami is like the only spotter in Border, aren't they? And I would have expected that since they have to have a lot of mobility, they would have to have a grasshopper too. So Asami's trigger set looks like it's meant to confuse everyone and then bail out when there's a good chance to. So basically get an idea of where everyone is with enhanced radar. I'm not sure how that works, but I guess we'll find out someday. So yeah, the operator can mark them and then move about quickly and block attacks with shield, I suppose, and then release dummy beacons to confuse the enemy while they have the best logistics. So I guess it could be the fighting style could be kind of unique.
Yeah.
I guess that's also a good role to have for someone who's afraid of shooting people with Trion weapons. Maybe they have a similar problem to Chika. For Toichiro, there's not a very original trigger set, just a basic sniper combo. Yukimaru, the mad lad, tanking with the ray gusts like there's no tomorrow. They definitely seem like a tank with double ray gus and double shield. Oh yeah, and Katagiri is one of the only sniper users, apart from Osamu. He really is the Chad Osamu. And yeah, that's all for Katagiri I have.
Then after that we have a piece explaining Border's exploitative wage system.
And then we have the Tamakoma 1 squad, the unranked A-rank squad.
Yeah, I have one note for each combatant.
I actually expected it to be quite interesting, since I don't know much about the triggers. The tactics are basically based on the invasion arc performance, so that's not really nothing really interesting there. So what do you have about Kizaki? About Kabo's Beefcake, sorry.
When I went to his page, I audibly went, "Holy fuck," at his stat diagram. Because I'm so used to them kind of being fairly balanced, and then his is just the sheer size of that boy. Like, gosh.
He even has perfect all-rounder written next to his position. Trine 11, that's still super high, below Ninomiya and Izumi, but still super high. So he has been devoted to self-discipline, kinky. Holy shit, his trigger set.
Yeah.
6 more triggers than the rest of them.
Yeah, no, so many things.
What do fucking Chika do with this trigger holder, I wonder?
Yeah. And it's interesting that the only one of the only ones he doesn't commonly used ones he doesn't have is a sniper rifle, but he is mentoring a sniper character.
Oh, doesn't he? Doesn't he have a sniper rifle? Because he definitely gets one later. Maybe that's what he uses for his free trigger. It does say that he has ray guns, but it doesn't say that his ray guns has a custom concentrated form in like the span of his fists, basically. I didn't get earlier though that he fucking just punches with thruster.
Hmm.
Viper is not very popular among agents, is it? I don't think I've seen a gunner take it as an option at all.
Yeah, not as like a high ranking one. It's mainly been in the B rank wars, I think.
Do you remember what Beefcake uses Spider for at all?
No.
I think he makes a barrier or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Full arms. I wish they explained full arms in more detail, but I guess I'm thinking maybe I'm thinking too much about this. Maybe this is just all the weapons.
Konami, I find her moves resembling neighbors is probably the most interesting example of a fighting style mirroring Tamakoma Branch's overall philosophy. That they're very willing to cooperate with neighbors and to take on their kind of tactics.
It would be good for a theory of like her also being a neighbor in disguise, which wouldn't really surprise me. But also, this doesn't make sense. Arashiyama is her cousin, so she's a number 3 attacker, but has higher attack parameter than Kazama. One lower than Tachikawa though. If she likes red things, why is her uniform all green? She did become a member pretty early on that we knew of, but
Yeah, a Midorikawa-esque young prodigy.
she was the first ace attacker. That's interesting. Yeah, I wonder if Connector would like connect different types of triggers for her, not just to Sogetsu with each other. And apart from that, she uses Meteora just for smoke screens and not like an all-rounder would. So Scruffy Hottie.
Yes, so Scruffy Hottie. Given that he has a large, poor family, I have to wonder if he doesn't frequently use his repeated pranks on Konami to rope her into extra neighbor takedown missions to earn some extra moolah.
That's great. His fucking age, given how like mature he acts, he composes himself, I almost forget how young he is. He's just 1 year older than both Osama and Kitora.
Yeah, he's quite a few years younger than Reiji.
Transferred from HQ recently, so same as Usami. Do wonder which squad he was in before. Was it like in Tachikawa squad since Iwega hates him? Or maybe in Kako squad since his name begins with a K?
Maybe.
Yeah, I do like it that his mentorship skills and like willingness to accommodate come from him being a big brother. And then there's, like unlike other all-rounders, he uses one weapon at a time and instead focuses on defense with Escudo. Even though he's like presented as an Escudo specialist, he only has one, unlike Jin. Yeah, finally someone who uses Viper. And then I think you can take the reins on Asami.
Yay, best girl! Woo! Yeah, and I mean, her likes include glasses and looking after people. What's not to like? Yeah, no, she has a very well-rounded set of parameters, for sure. Which I guess isn't too surprising, given how she is the operator for one of the better teams, a debatably best team in Border.
Yeah, it's interesting that like unlike some of the more high-ranked operators, her parallel processing is not as good, which kind of makes sense later on, as seen in the match with Kuruma Squad when they apply pressure on her as the operator. We've also seen Yomi participating in the battle remotely via Idra. So when is Osami gonna control her Power Ranger Marmot army?
Make it happen, Ashihara!
It's interesting, Osami has been the one to analyze neighbor weapons and technology and so on, so there's a lot of work behind the scenes that she does, and she also kind of doubles as an engineer, I guess. Yeah, I think that's it from me for Osami, so let's move on to Jin.
Jin, I find it very surprising that his special tactics are so low. Or am I just like not thinking of special tactics the right way? That feels like something that would be really high for him.
To be honest, I don't really understand this stat and how it's distributed.
Yeah. Like what is the difference between special tactics and skill?
Skill is like accuracy, right? So yeah.
Right. It is cool that we have like an outstanding S rank tier ace that has an emphasis on defense. Like I think he's got the highest defense of everyone.
Every non-black trigger one. This is his parameter while equipped with normal triggers. We get some more information, I think, next chapter about his black trigger. It's interesting that he focuses on defense so much, given how Scorpion is not at all built for defense.
Yeah, neither is, I guess. You could say Fujin is the best defense is a good offense. It's like a very widespread thing, but these stats aren't for Fujin. So it's not focusing on spreading damage out in such a way that it can cover his tracks. Well, not cover his track. Let's just cover him on multiple angles.
Yeah.
But yeah.
His use of Escudo is much more focused on creating a wall rather than a shield.
Yeah.
Which makes sense given that he has double. So future that have a very high chance of being realized can be seen years in the future regarding his side effects. So it's interesting info on how his side effect works compiled. It's all information that we've seen before, but it's just something that Wensleydale forgot. And yeah, I think that's it from me.
Yeah, no, that's me done as well. Before we started recording, I said I don't want to jinx this on being a short one, but I don't have many notes. And Matchek and Wensleydale are just like, oh, I have one on every character, and I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be a short one, is it?
Oh dear.
Yeah, you're bringing it on yourself, friend.
We could have coordinated better, to be sure, but I hope you've had fun, and this is going to do it for the first Border Briefing File episode of Duckface Diaries. So, you can listen to our volume retrospectives on so many podcast hosting sites. Anchor, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Breaker, Overcast, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Podbay, Play FM, Listen Notes, Castro, Google Podcasts. Patreon.com/Wensleydale Cheddar. This is where all the links are in the pinned post. You can mostly find us on youtube.com/c/Wensleydale Cheddar. There and on the same RSS feed as Duckface Diaries, you get access not only to Duckface Diaries, but Manga Mosaic, a collection of podcasts and video essays on manga titles, short and long alike. And any long-running retrospective projects that we may come up in the future, one of which may be coming soon. And remember that, much like the neighborhood, the YouTube algorithm is a dark abyss of sorrows and woes from which channels like these never resurface, and what helps us navigate it is liking, subscribing, and sharing the podcast with a friend. We also have a sister show, which is...
HOVIN'S HIDEAWAY. It's another manga podcast which has been on indefinite hiatus since Attack on Titan ended, because making videos is hard, and I've just not found the time for it. But yeah, you could check all those out.
It's all because of the rumbling.
It's all because of the rumbling. Aaron destroyed my will to make videos. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Hovin with an H, where I post regular manga threads and manga rambles, and retweet a lot of art, what I find nice. That's mainly where you'll find me active.
Okay, I guess we're skipping over some other stuff. Send us emails, questions, comments, suggestions to Wensleydale012@gmail.com, or follow us on Twitter at Duckface Diaries, or individual Twitters at Cheddar and at Hovin with an H.
The lack of coordination is through to the plugs.
On my Twitter you can find depression. And also, like, I retweet a lot of my older videos, which might be obnoxious for you. So just follow at Duckface Diaries and at Hoven with an H, honestly. So if you'd like to help me upload these podcasts on a regular basis, consider supporting me on patreon.com/Wensleydale Cheddar. In return for your support, you get access to rewards such as adding your name to the YouTube credits or getting a World Trigger Duckface avatar. Help me reach goals such as reviving World Trigger Bridge. Every time we hit a milestone, I will be making a new episode of that, and we're a few bucks away from episode 3, which has been in editing purgatory for a few years now since the Adobe project broke down. And a sincere thank you to Milo Jack Sillitz, who composed our ending theme and an orchestral rendition of Giri Giri, the first opening sequence for World Trigger. You can find his work at soundcloud.com/Milo Jack Sillitz. What are we covering next? I guess you already said it in the last podcast, but what are we covering next time, in case the listeners want a reminder?
Well, fuck, I don't have the file up, but you could just copy-paste what I said from last time.
Yeah, okay, we'll see you next time with Volume 14. Just re-listen to the last podcast, honestly. Yeah, this is going to be great. Anyway, This was the Border Briefing File episode of Duckface Diaries, and as always, it's time to
Bugger off!